Hello everyone, my name is Lilian Abigail Benavides and I'm a student of the National University. In this case, I'm coursing the subject of English literature, and today I will talk to you about a story which is called Son by Updike. Let's get started talking about this. Son was written in Ipswich in 1973, published in April 21st of 2073. This story, Songs by John Updike, follows several different stories about childhood of several generations of men because it is divided up into different stories encompassing different lives. The protagonist changes frequently throughout, and John Updike uses an unusual structure of writing to convey a very important point in his story. So his story relates to a relationship between a father and son and uses many generations in his own family as example. In his story, Updike writes about his feelings and thought about having a teenage son, and then goes on explaining how his father felt about him and how his father felt about him and so on. So he first talks about a teenage son, and he makes sure that he states the date because the goal of him in this writing or writing in this order is not to confuse the reader, but so the reader goes in deep in understanding the belief and attitudes that are passed down from generation to generations. So the story begins with a series of reflections on the father-son relationship and is reflected on the story. The first one describes the actor's own son. He wishes for perfection. He will be a better father than his father, he thinks. But in that time, it was tricked in made him in the time and made him a son. So the next memory is drawn from the author's childhood. His parents are arguing downstairs while he's writing a musical comedy. The father and mother had adopted the dominant and submissive relationship expected from them by the society, and also those roles do not seem altogether appropriate. The son tries not to listen, and he waits to charms. He expects charms for Mondays, for school, for excitement of class, for fame, and for the crowd that will take him away from that situation. He also remembers a Christmas when money was scarce and his father was sick. His father was a school teacher and the son suffered in his courses. He explains in the story. The narrator also speaks about seeing his son playing a soccer team and writing that his son is a good player and has good sportsmanship, but he can help to criticize him for not being more aggressive concerning to his futures as man. Updike then goes back into the past and begins to talk about his grandfather being a teenager and how he's struggling the church youth ministry. In this paragraph explains us the meaning of wanting what is the best for their son, because that Renator's grandfather did not like being a ministry, but his great grandfather told him about that it's not a job, it is concealed with him. Then he confuses. He never got bringing sadness into his heart in that area of the ministry in the church. The author's son hurts his younger brother and must be punished. He concerns him, does nothing. They stand as father and son. Then he runs out the door. A little while later, they hear him playing the guitar. The notes fall down. In this visitor, he seems like they're prisoners, and these guys' parents have the responsibility to look after their children, providing them with love, security, education, health, and in healthy emotional environment. They know this also on many situations, on many occasions, they confuse it with financial issues and effort that the child does not like anything. Both parents dedicate most of the time to work, and they must lost that important part, that is attention, the attention that they should be giving to their children. Well, the children who start the school, they need to do it with enthusiasm, joy, and highly motivated. So they will hardly do it if the home climate is one of stress and anxiety, both in schedules or tasks and in collaborative activities that the school requires of parents. Unfortunately, we are in a generation that parents do not want their children to suffer what they suffer in their job, or what their parents also have to go through. However, these cultural changes often have consequences for today's young people, because parents they confuse the fact of waiting too long when the education process of their children has not been adequate with the lack of attention. This can be seen from different points. The first one, that is, they many times it is thought that the some educations have or was given to our parents, and the one that they gave us in the same that should be given to our children, when in reality it will depend on the culture and the way in which the education was transmitted. It is not possible that at this point parents are under a strict discipline regime, and in order to educate and get the best potential of their children. However, here comes the other point of not being under the strict disciplinary regime, means that their children will remain in a positive mode and fulfilling their unnecessary needs, confusing the idea that giving everything and allowing everything will make everything work, and are educated in a constructivistic environment. So being a father is not just about bringing our children into the world, because there are many other commitments that are associated with fatherhood, and you have to be willing to fulfill them. Children cannot be treated as they are or they were pets, letting people outside the family take care of them, or deposing children in school and disregarding the excuse that they are not sufficiently prepared to educate them. Nor they can take refuge in the fatigue with which they arrive from work, because their role as providers will not make up for the deficiencies with which they will develop. It is not just to pretend by giving them quality time or they are already fulfilling it. The children need more than that. So this is all for this story and this reflection. I hope you enjoy it, and thanks for watching. Bye bye.